Okay, so I'm going to do something I never thought I'd do. I'm going to do a bit of a pack shakedown after the Grampians Peaks walk. Mainly because I've had a few people ask me on Facebook and a few things about the gear we use, things like that. The thing with pack shakedowns is and gear is everyone's got an opinion, and they're really no one's right, no one's wrong. So what works for me isn't going to work for everyone else, but this is what works for me. So to start with, I suppose the gear I'm running, I walked in the gear I'm wearing. I walked in Hocker Speed Goats, which come through pretty good. They weren't new when I started. I got a bit of a scuff mark on on the foot here. And I wore the Dirty Girl gaiters. I didn't take my canvas gaiters. So that worked for me, but you could quite easily do it in boots and gaiters if that's your thing. I've got a pair of MacPack cable shorts. They work well. Wore them the whole trip. Got washed once in 13 days. And the, what is it? Columbia shirt, the old favourite. Once again, washed once in 13 days. I had enough rain to wash it out though, so that worked well. And my hat. That's it, no floppy on this one, but if you do it in summer, you want a floppy. Alright, let's get into the interesting stuff maybe. I'll start pulling my pack a bit. So, I've got a trekking pole tent, so I use Lecky trekking poles. I've tried different brands over the years. Lecky seem to be the most bulletproof ones for me. I've got a little attachment for my GoPro when I use it. Yeah, they work pretty good, but any trekking pole will do really. I carry a Z-Lite kind of backup mattress, something to sit on during the day. I don't use this every walk, but because it was so cold and wet, potentially wet and rocky, I carried this and I think it was worth its weight in gold. And it does work as a backup mattress. Alright, here we go. We'll do the outside first. Camp thongs. Oh, okay, this is the hoodie I start the day in. So this is an icebreaker hoodie. These things are brilliant too. So it saves me wearing a beanie. And it just feels good, the merino against your skin. Once again, that's been washed once in 13 days and it still smells reasonable. I took a Caterden V-free on this one. Caterden, in my experience, has got a better flow when they're clean. However, they tend to clog up fairly quickly. So the lifespan isn't huge, and I use a C-Knock ladder, but you know, they do flow pretty good when they're clean. What else? No, not much else in there, just a sponge and a bit of sunscreen. Sponge to mop the condensation off my tent. So the pack itself is a Mountain Gear Hyperlight. I think it's a Wind Rider, but don't quote me on it. It's 65 litres. Didn't wet out in all the rain. It would wet out eventually, but didn't on this trip. Weighs just under a kilo for the 65. Carries well. I carried about just under 20 kilos at stages. We had a few issues, so I was carrying a little bit extra sometimes, and it was good. Got these two pouches added on. One's for my glasses, my reading glasses for the old man eyes, and the other one, whatever, my phone, whatever goes in there. The two pouches around the gut come with the pack. One of them's got a few pills in of vitamins and things. The other one's got my InReach and GoPro, and I think this without falling over. Yeah, so I've got the InReach, which I probably should turn off soon, and the GoPro on that one. They're just handy to have. All right, get to the guts of the situation. So these H&G packs, they look like dry bags where you roll the tops down, and the dye in them is pretty waterproof. Alright, I carry a Nalgene bottle to fresh water because it's easy to filter into. Alright, look, this is boring stuff. Dry bags, got sunnies, snake bandages, ×2, pretzel head torch, Bluetooth headphones, a Mozzie net, that's optimism. This is the sort of electronic leads and that for my phone, GoPro, whatever else I've got, InReach, a few different things. Spare 2,000 amp, is it? 20,000, yeah. Go on, what is it?
Milliamp hour.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Cameraman Joe.
So that's a battery bank.
Battery bank, yeah. Compass, didn't need it the whole trip. I think Joe's got my map. There's a little pack I carry, a little day pack for doing side trips. That's just old man drugs and first aid kit and a few lens cleaners. And this pack itself is waterproof as well. You can buy them from, I think it's Hyperlite. Yeah, Hyperlite Mountain Gear. I've got a couple of them, different sizes. What else we got in here? The TARDIS. My cooking gear. I've had this cooker for 20 years, I reckon. It was one of the first titanium pots that came out. The Cozy's homemade. You can make them a variety of ways. I think Joe made hers out of a weather shield. I think we bought this at one of the shops in Melbourne that sell material. Carry one of these Cedar Summit cups. And it's my little MSR Whisper Light cookie. You can get smaller.
Pocket rocket.
Pocket rocket?
They're a pocket rocket.
What's the Whisper Light? That's the shallow
A different
one.
stove, yeah.
Okay, close. I'm all over this. I carried a windshield on this walk off my old Whisper Light. It didn't really work too well with the pocket rocket. I mean, it could work if I muck around with rocks and that. The rest of the stuff in here is just titanium spork, pot holder, a little knife, odds and ends to cook with. Nothing special there. And everyone's going to have their own setup they use for this kind of thing. What have we got next? Into the bag of tricks. This is just my toiletry bag. I won't go through that, but it's wet wipes, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, poop scoop, trowel, thingo. Maybe I should show you that actually. So I like that bit of kit. How's that for a little ultralight? That's done. Spare pair of socks. So I think I mentioned socks, so maybe I didn't. So what are the trail runners? I went through with 4 pairs of socks and a pair of icebreaker socks for bed. I picked up this last pair that I've got on under here at the last food drop. We washed some socks in Halls Gap, and that was about, we used everything. Everything was perfect. Nothing, contrary to some people's opinion, nothing stunk too much. But yeah, 4 got me through, and it was pretty wet. This is a dry bag that I had my food in. That's empty now. We timed that well. But I recommend a dry bag system in a pack, even in one as waterproof as this. I've got this 4 litre MSR dromedary bladder. Really probably carried that, only really used it today to be honest with you. It is handy if you're camping away from water though, carry water to camp, and they're bulletproof, absolutely bulletproof. What's coming up? Okay, I've got the Thermarest Neo Air. This is my second Neo Air. The old one was 12 years old. This one is really good. I had no problems with it. I know Jo's rocking a Cedar Summit job, and I think she's really impressed with hers. I like all this gear. It's all opinion, and whatever suits you. But this is what I use the Neo Air.
The R rating?
Extra therm. R rating we think is 6 point something. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 6.9 maybe. And the R rating for this is bugger all, about 1.5.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good stuff. I took my triplex on this walk, mainly because if the weather turned bad, there's not huts all the way through, and it was odds on we were going to get bad weather. So I just thought if everything turned to shit, we could share this tent or sit in the tent during the day. Turned out to be a pretty good idea. Well, not that we had to share it and not that we had to sit in it, but the weather was crap, and this tent gave me heaps of room, and it weighs maybe 600 grams, and it's a Palace. It was hard work, and I think Jo struggled with hers as well. She's got Dyneema 10 as well. It was hard work keeping them dry with the dewy. If it wasn't raining, it was dewy and cold, and it was a bit hard work keeping them dry, but yeah, awesome tent. The platforms on the Grampians Peaks Trail are almost built for this tent, but you have to look at the way you put them up. So if you're thinking of a trekking pole tent on this walk, if the triplex will fit on a platform, anything will. That's that one. Back into the TARDIS. Now we're getting into the boring stuff. Clothes. A buff, handy in the sleeping bag at night. Stop my head getting cold. This is just a spare dry bag that I use for clothes. It's got something in it. Oh yeah, pair of boxer shorts, icebreaker boxer shorts. They only got used a couple of times on the whole walk. These Macpac shorts have got a liner in them, in case you're wondering. Got my Montaigne pants that I got over in Fort William in Scotland about 10 years ago, and they're still going strong. They're awesome. I only really wear them around camp. Okay, my mid layers are something I got on special at Mountain Design about 10 years ago. Still going strong. Dries in about 2 seconds. This is my icebreaker kind of thermal that I wear in the sleeping bag. It's got this insulation on the chest, on the front. It is super toasty. It's got a hoodie, but it's also like a part balaclava thing, gets over your ears as well. Super toasty on the really cold nights. Very expensive though, icebreaker. We swapped out one of these canisters about every 3 nights. These are refilled ones, so they were never quite full. We were using a fair bit at night. Brekkie was pretty quick. We weren't using them for lunch. And that was for me and Jo, so there was 2 of us using these. It was about right, maybe 1 every 3 days, if you're going to cook a bit more. Okay, my wet weather gear. This is the first trip I've used this. I think it's called a Virtus. It's a Z-Pax Vortex jacket. Not that expensive, strangely enough. Super light, only weighs a couple 100 grams. It's got pit zips, keeps me dry. We never got soaking wet. We never got like driving rain, and I wouldn't use it in the Alps. But for the Grampians or the Larapinta or Southwest Walk, maybe those kind of walks, yeah, it's definitely doable. It wouldn't be the most robust thing if you were pushing through scrub, that's the only thing. But I think it's a win. These are my icebreaker socks. My pillow, my one luxury, Joanne's made me soft. She's got me under the pillow. Oh, speaking of soft. All right. We did try something on this walk. We tried these hand warmer, body warmer, toe warmer things. And it is a luxury, but we were only carrying 3 or 4 days food, so it was a luxury we could afford. Really good. Probably more environmentally friendly to go for the Nalgene hot water bottle that Jo was using, but these were good. Some of them last 10 hours. You go to bed and it'd still be warm in the morning at the bottom of your sleeping bag. So you can pick them up. I picked up a massive amount at Chemist Warehouse for next to nothing. Definitely worth considering on a cold walk in winter. These are my recovery tights, TXU. I use in the sleeping bag. I think they help my legs a lot. I didn't wear them last night and my knees ached a fair bit. It was the only night I didn't wear them. They're tight, but they're good. And they say they're just safe taking thermals in the wearing thermals in the sleeping bag. Okay, we're getting the stuff that I didn't really use much. I think these are my sealskin gloves. Wore them once. I needed gloves though, but the sealskins were probably overkill. I meant to have my fingerless bike gloves and I left them at home, or I left them in the car. So this was all I had. I'd recommend some kind of glove, particularly if you're doing the Grampians Peaks Trail in May, because it's bloody cold. Just a cheap pair of overpants that I didn't wear, but probably for the weight of them, they don't breathe or anything. It's definitely worth carrying because there's some very exposed sections on this track and there's no huts in some of the camps. Pack towel, luxury, didn't really use it. Should probably go smaller, but I'm heading somewhere warm after this and I want to be swimming, so I carried this big one. Get back to that. What else is down there? Oh, that's it. Okay. My favourite, second favourite, I think my tent's the favourite. So this is my sleeping bag. I keep it in, and I took a bag on this walk, not a quilt. So I just figured I want to be a little bit warmer. So this is the heaviest bag I've got. Oh, actually, well, that's my puffy. I think that's a rad puffy. That goes in with the sleeping bag to keep dry in case of disaster. This is another thing. I think I got this in Fort William in Scotland many years ago, and it's still put in good service. My pillowcase. Yeah, so I've got an inflatable pillow. It's not big enough for me, so I chuck some clothes in here. Got a little strap that I roll around put around the mattress to keep it in place. Works pretty well, actually. All right. This is where all the weight is in my pack. So, this is the sleeping bag I used. Now, it's a Mont bag. I'm trying to remember what model. It might be a Brindabella. It's their warmest bag, whatever that was their warmest bag when I bought it. So I think it's a Brindabella, and it's the biggest size I could get because I'm a fat bastard, and it fits me, and it's so nice. It's so warm. It's got a little toe box at the bottom. You can shove your heat pads in there. It's a great little, and it was so nice crawling into this at the end of the day. So yeah, that's about my setup. I think. I don't think there's much more to say, but if there's any questions about all this, like I said, gear's very subjective. Okay, so I'm not pretending I'm the expert on this. I don't know specs, and I just know what I like and what works for me. I'm not really loyal to any brand. I've got bits of everything here. But if there's any questions, just leave a question in the comment and I'll try and get back to you. All right, catch you next time.